do like any posting or anything about this. So I'm excited to see how many people show up.
Yeah,
Um, but regardless, it's gonna be a party either way.
it sure is. Let's see. I gotta see if I'm live here.
We're definitely live on YouTube. Let me check LinkedIn.
I am.
Okay, so we're live on.
Good.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Let's see what's happening on LinkedIn. See, LinkedIn used to have whenever you were live, it used to have it like whenever you go on like your profile be like on top.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we're just going backwards.
Somebody should tell them. Oh, we got a few people in here. So, for those of you who are here with us right now, could you tell us where you're located? Hey, Trace. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Woodstock, Illinois. Oh, Felix. Oh, hey. Thank you so much for joining. Kenya. So, fun fact about Woodstock, Illinois, Trace, which obviously Trace knows. So on February 2nd, I posted on LinkedIn that my uncle was actually on. He was an extra on the film Groundhog Day, and that was filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, where Trace lives.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Got some celebrities in the house. Or family of celebrity, basically.
Right. Woodstock, Illinois. Who knew?
New York is in the house. Are you a Knicks fan, Felix? I hope so. You know what's crazy? I'm like, okay, listen, everything has been just amazing with the reach and growing the community. But man, I have not been getting any Knicks fans in the Data Motion crew. Like, what's going on? It's just been like, I'm like, it's crazy. Where are my Knicks fans? Like, Bentonville, Phillips back, Bentonville in the house, Arkansas, where Walmart's headquartered.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's right. We talked about this last time, didn't we?
Yeah, and he had to leave early. But Philip, I hope you're going to be here for the whole time. Pacers fan, listen. Knicks fan, okay. All right, now we got some Knicks fans. Now, okay, it's going to be a good time. Knicks fan in the house. All right. Pacers fan. Y'all not having a good year, I don't think.
Times like this, I wish I was a sports fan.
Sometimes I haven't been watching sports as much as I've like gotten older and stuff like that, but I don't know. There's certain things where sometimes life probably is more peaceful without being, knowing certain things.
Yeah.
Like anyone who like is not a sports fan, like a rabid sports fan is probably, there's
Yeah.
certain things, their blood pressure is probably normal.
I hope so. For all of you sports fans, how's your blood pressure?
Like real sports fans, not folks who hop around like no LeBron bandwagon folks. Okay, listen. So it's we got it's should we get started?
Yeah.
How
I
about
think
we
we
get
should.
started? What's
Let's
on
get
the
started.
docket today? What are we talking about?
Today, good question, Kadisha. I'm glad you asked. So today we are talking about personal branding, all about personal branding.
Okay, Philip's driving, so participation will be limited. Listen, Philip, we appreciate you tuning in, and that's great. Okay, all about personal branding, but not just personal branding. We're talking about how to turn our personal branding into actual job offers, right? Like there ain't no
Absolutely.
sense in just having a personal brand just to have a personal brand, right? There's a difference
Absolutely.
between just like having like you don't want to have like a huge like network or no, a huge brand, but no true network, right?
Hmm.
Two different
Yeah,
things. Two different things.
absolutely. Yeah. And, very specifically, for the data in motion crowd, it's a lot of career pivoters, right?
Mhm.
Mostly people who have started out in a different field and have pivoted into something else. And I feel like, when I talk to folks who are in this situation, a lot of times it can be really hard to like hone in your personal brand and really be able to craft that story and be able to, write a LinkedIn headline that's going to really express, your past and, the strengths that you have gained from your previous work experience and how you're like leveraging that to move forward into data analytics. Um, so LinkedIn headline. This is like basically like what is your personal brand to start off with. It's like the story that you tell about you, and
Which
that
is yeah,
that
which is
like
interesting
every.
for oh sorry.
Go ahead, Kadisha.
Well,
Sorry.
it's just like because like every time there's like, always people who join the program or anything that's like they're just starting their LinkedIn. They didn't really have to do this stuff years ago, so it's like new.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's just like, and it's just almost like like what is their story? Like how do they pull that out? Especially when analyst isn't on their resume or whatever thing like that.
Hmm.
It just seems like a completely new world, right? It's
Yeah.
almost like, and I try to get people to like not look at LinkedIn like regular social media. Like there's a lot of nonsense, on it, right? But it's
Yeah.
still the number one platform for networking professionally, in my opinion. Like there's nothing that beats it.
Mm.
But it's like it's a big thing to get folks to like look at it like not like posting on like Instagram or whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think like a really like a core of my work and how I support people who are looking, whether it's a transition or just looking for that next role, it's really alignment. When you're looking for a job, of course, you need to be giving employers what they want. So we have to first like know what they want and then be really reflecting that in our personal brand, in our messaging. And for those of you who are listening right now, I mean, personal brand isn't just LinkedIn. Yes, it is LinkedIn. And like Kadisha said, it's extremely important to have that professional presence on LinkedIn because, especially if you're looking for a role in tech, like we're on LinkedIn, guys. And I am glad that some of you are actually tuning in from LinkedIn right now. So but it is LinkedIn, and it is just like literally what you go and you say to a person when you introduce yourself. It's what you say in an interview. It's what people say about you when you're not there, regardless of how they got that information about you. So it is really like let's say like your kind of brand story, your origin story. And when I come up with a personal brand, there are three different things I want to think about: past, present, and future. And you really want to make sure that your past and present is aligned with your future and that's aligned with what companies want right now.
There's a you mentioned fit. And there's a thing in business called product market fit. And I made this thing. I'm gonna post about it again. I made a thing in Canva called uh no, I made a post about it maybe like a year or two ago about what is it? Job market fit or something. It was like
Mm,
basically just it was like yeah, job market fit, basically. And I'm gonna pull it out. But basically it's the same thing. And it's like, okay, you think about okay, what are the skills that you have? What are the skills that the market's asking for? And then the skills that what your ideal job, so like data analyst, what are the ideal skills that to be a data analyst, right? And then in the middle, right, is the your job market fit in the beginning or in the
mm,
middle, yeah.
mm,
So like starting, yeah, go it's like starting from that point is like extremely important. And then it's like more clear too. right? You're not going like, first of all, you appreciate your background, you appreciate what you're bringing to the table, and you first of all, you're aware of what you're bringing to the table. Most career changers, they're not aware of what they're bringing to the table. And so you gotta put some personal branding worksheets and you put like really put some like having like think. Don't just go to Chat GPT. Like really think about your background, your stories, and similar like what you were talking about for the Amazon, like how they interview.
Hmm.
Because when I interviewed for them, I was asking around to like folks in my network, like, hey, how do I, interview? And it's like one thing for technical, but that stuff about their leadership principles, and it's like always have a story for each one. It's the same.
Mm,
It's really the same principle. Like
yeah.
it's just like tying, like thinking about your stories of like when you've done stuff,
Yeah.
um, and then really molding it to what's being asked for. It's really I don't know. It's very eye opening. I just don't think we really think about that because unless you're a narcissist, we don't really talk about ourselves that much or really So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like I think what you said about, people not seeing their people not seeing their value in the work that they've done in the past is so valid. You know, and I would love to hear from you like how you felt about your personal brand when you pivoted into data because, from your LinkedIn profile, we can see that you started out, you worked in the military and you were delivering pizzas for a while. And all of a sudden, you became a bomb something data analyst. So, I mean, obviously, there was a transition that happened. There were, skills that were gained in order to make that a possibility. But also, I mean, there's a story behind that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So what I did was, well, first thing I did was I looked up, data analytics. Well, I looked up data, right? So it took a month, and I saw data analyst, data scientist, data engineer. Data scientist had the highest amount of median income at the time, right? Like that, and data engineer, highest amount of median income versus data analyst, and that's what all the content creators was pushing at the time, right? This was like, what, 5 years ago now? And but it was like statistics and all this. I failed math in college. So I was like, no thanks. And then data engineer was like Python and like all these code. I'm like, no thanks. So I was like, it seemed like it was super like what do you call it? What do you call it? Like the barrier to entry was easier and more like I was looking at the job description or what they do, and I'm like, hey, I've done this type of stuff, right? Just not with like some of the tools. So I learned the tools like Excel, Tableau, pretty quickly during the summertime. But when it came down to interviewing and how I presented myself in interviews, what I did was I would always like think of like I always had like a particular story when I was on like deployment specifically in the Navy that I always talk about where I was a superstar, where I leveraged what I thought was like my key things where at the time it was leadership, process improvement, and then like creativity. So those are my things. And notice those are three things that are not technical, but those are three things that are intangibles. Those are three things that, especially in the realm of data analytics, where there's so much ambiguity and so much like you don't want to be someone where if you're someone where you have to have your hand held for everything, it's not gonna be a fun time. Um, so I made those shine in my interview. Like, but when I was asked about like, hey, have you ever used, are you comfortable with Tableau? I'm like, yeah, I'm comfortable with Tableau. But most of the interview was me just telling stories that highlighted my three key, superstar traits, in my opinion, and then always related that to data in some sort of way. And I, at the time, on my LinkedIn headline, it was like, I wish we could always go back and find that stuff because I would love to share that with my students, like what my like the versions of my LinkedIn was.
Mm,
But at the time, it said it was a like uh, I was a no, process improvement minded data analyst because I love process improvement. I had my yellow belt, my Six Sigma yellow belt. So like that was like my thing. Like I really loved it. So I again took like my experience and my skill set and just like told a story that directly related to what was being asked. And I think that's what I didn't lie or anything like that. Like I didn't say, yeah, I did, you know, machine learning models on the boat. I didn't do none of that. It's like it just didn't have to do that. So but beyond that, I think just also I don't know. There's not that many, communities and stuff as it used to, like free communities, but I don't know, just networking and things like that, and just seeing so many people that are also on the same like path of improvement and whatnot. Just
Mm,
over time, I built my network there, but what I just said, that was like the key thing of like my brand coming in. I just identified like my three superstar traits that I was already bringing to the table, and I just made sure I highlighted that on my resume and on my in my interviews.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And, like I always say too, when I'm working with job seekers, that, and I'm going to say this in quotes, like, it's so easy. I know that it's not so easy, but it's much easier to just like highlight your tools on a PDF, like let's say on your resume, let's say on LinkedIn. There's a skills section on LinkedIn. You just put like SQL, bam, skill, SQL, add Python, there's your skill. But then, and those are the things that are going to get you in the door to have an interview, like Kadisha said. So all those skills like got her in the door. But then when you're sitting there in the chair in the office or you're in that virtual interview, you need to be a personable person and be able to speak to that. And that's where like your personal brand is really important. What is the story of you? How did you decide to become a data analyst? Like, what do you love about data? And stories like this are really important because we as humans, we really resonate with stories. And the people that you're going to be speaking with are really going to want to like, they're going to want to work with you. So giving them like a little bit of personality in the interview, giving them something to talk about, something to chew on, in our in data in motion, when people are coming in from a different career background, there is the possibility that you could if you don't do it right, like you could come across looking as like you're just kind of stumbling through your career. Like this is totally possible. I remember my first hiring experience. I was working at the Center for Students with Disabilities at my university, and we had to hire a new director. And they needed some students on the hiring committee to sit in on the interviews and give feedback. So I was selected to be on that committee, and they asked for my feedback first, which I was really appreciative of because I was the most inexperienced person. And the first thing I said, there were three interviews that I sat on, and there was this one guy who had studied in all of these different states. He had studied three different topics, and he even had like a PhD, but he had also worked in like three different industries. And then now he was interviewing for this role at the Center for Students with Disabilities. And I came out of that interview, and when they asked me for feedback on this guy, I said, this guy comes across as being kind of a surfer dude who's just like stumbling through life. And they were like, that is so on point. That is exactly the same the same impression that they got. And thank God I was sitting in on this interview, because I got the point when I was probably 21, 22 years old, that your story matters and you need to bring it all together. It needs to be cohesive. So I know for all of those of you who are out there who are looking to pivot into a career, I know that we're mostly speaking to a data crowd here, looking to pivot into data. Know that the things that you've done in the past are likely related to data. You don't just from one day to the next decide to like go into like a completely different career. There's usually some kind of reasoning behind it. Even if that's like not top of mind for you, I would love for you to like get that out. Ask yourself a few questions like, what was it that turned me on to data initially? That's going to be part of your pivot story, because if somebody in an interview asks you, so why are you interested in data? You don't want to say 120K salary. You want to love something about data, and they're going to want to hire a person who loves data, who's interested, who's had a spark. you know?
Yeah, I definitely love something that data can be used for. Um, I know, it's interesting you said that, you don't just like randomly like choose a career.
So
Definitely past me was definitely doing that. My first career was I was a massage therapist, and I literally just like decided to just enroll in massage school while also in college. It was just while I was listen pre Navy me. I don't know, you know, it just
I did not know that about you.
yeah. Well, most people their first job was like McDonald's, fast food. Nope, I was a massage therapist, a licensed massage therapist. If you look up my name on the Georgia SOS statement, Secretary of the State, you will find my name. It'll see it, and it'll say my license is obviously what do you call it, expired,
Expired?
but like you'll see
Mm.
it. Um. Anyways, yes. Did the surfer dude? Did that impression of the surfer dude? Did that come off as a great impression or no? For the
No, he did not get hired. He was the last choice of the three.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I mean these jobs, in public, like, in higher education, they're really coveted. Like there are a lot of people who really want to work in like university administration. So that killed it for him. And another person was hired on who had like a very consistent through line through their career of working in, working with students with disabilities and working in higher education. So I don't want to say if he had more of a compelling story at that point and more of like a personal brand around where he was going next. I don't want to say that he would have gotten the job because the person who was hired on was very highly qualified and had done, a very similar thing at, UW Madison. So it was, tough crowd out there, but but I mean, I really left the interview not with a positive impression. And there were three candidates. I remember the person who got the job, I remember that guy, and I don't even remember if the other person was male or female. So obviously, like that person left a bad impression because he came off as like the surfer dude who doesn't know where he's going in life. So always like be pulling on those strings, be looking for the reason why behind something. If you like, but what brought you into data, Kadisha?
Oh, and that perfect. Someone kind of asked that question like that. Yeah, I was just what do you call it? So I went back to school to finish because again I flunked out of school. So I went back and then I'm like, man, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do, with this, degree because I was still in school, technically, non-traditional student, but I met with the interim dean literally for like 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I said something like, listen, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do. I don't know what to do after, and she said, I don't listen. It was 30 minutes. I don't know what she said for like 99% of the time, but for like maybe like 2 minutes, she said, when I like got out of school or was in school like 20 years ago, with the same track that I was on, she
Mhm.
was like, I did a data analyst internship at Delta. Or she was like, she worked at Delta when she first graduated. So I was like, that's where I looked it up because I never even heard of data analysts or anything like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, it seemed pretty cool to me. But I did a month of like again researching the data jobs. It was like three data jobs, but and yeah, I mean, I love Tableau and whatnot. That I think that's what got me honestly. If there was no dashboarding involved, I don't think I would have stuck into it because I'm a creative person. So like,
Mm.
I like drawing and stuff like that. Like that is
Mm.
me. I'm not really like um whatever the opposite is. Like I love creativity. Like that's my jam. So
Mhm. Yeah. So, I mean, at the time, I mean, now your story has obviously evolved and you've had all these like really cool roles in data and, gone to all these different places. But at the time, I mean, when you landed that first role, I bet that question was really important for you. And having that background as a creative person, like, is really important for data because not only are you working with like super structured data, hopefully, hopefully nice clean data, but you also do have to have that curiosity about you, that creativity to think like, okay, this is like what I assumed is wrong. Now I'm gonna like look at different angles and dig down into the data and see if it can like tell me a story. And if it tells me a story, like how am I going to communicate that to other people? So I think like probably, and of course I didn't know you at that time, but probably that was probably an important part of, you know, your interviews. And
Yeah, and I had on my resume creative problem solving as one of my bullets or whatever, my skills. And then that was brought up in the interview, like, hey, I saw you have creative problem solving. I do, so that was brought up too. But yeah, we spent most of the time, most of the interview was like it was not about the technical stuff. It was
Mm,
like it was about the other things, which now is even more important in my opinion, because well, obviously, yes, table stakes is skill set, right?
yeah,
Skills like the technical skills, table stakes.
yeah,
But in my opinion, there's far more people that you can find with the technical skills, but they're lacking the soft skills, the problem solving skills, the creativity, the communication, the storytelling, etc. That really are the big drivers. I remember there was um one of our students when she was like interviewing, like she ended up getting like 5 senior roles in like 45 days or whatever. And then one of the roles that she was interviewing for, it was at Home Depot actually, and they were like, it was a role that it was like they were interviewing for a while. So it had been
hmm,
like, and they were saying that it had been so difficult to find someone was who has both the technical skills and then the soft skills. Like they would find like someone that was like strong in the technical skills but not great in the soft skills, they wouldn't hire them. Or they'd
yeah,
find someone strong with the soft skills but not great on the technical, they wouldn't hire them. And so they were like, so if you imagine, they just kept the job, like they were kept interviewing for it for like months and months,
mm,
and did not take folks that were technical but didn't have the soft skills. So I think that's a huge thing that should, so
absolutely. And I mean, I saw the exact same thing when I was hiring for analytical roles at Wayfair. You know, if you just had the technical skills, it was not enough. And even as part of the hiring process in the panel interview, there were 4 interviews, 3 of whom were team members, and then there was a stakeholder interview. And because this position is so crucial in the company, you are basically like a little internal consultancy and you have internal clients. So they need to have somebody who can like interface with all of these different departments, have good relationships, be able to ask good questions. So they actually had some of the future clients, you know, interviewing candidates. And they absolutely were people who could say, I can't work with this person. No, next. So, you know, hard skills, you write it down on paper, you've got it on your LinkedIn. Yes, you need that. And you have to be a people person, and you need to communicate, and you need to be curious, and you need to, I mean, I don't know if all companies care about this, but it's nice if you're making a dashboard that it looks good so people can understand.
yeah.
So it
Listen,
is really a
I've
unique.
seen some train wrecks
Yeah.
on the job. Not from, and that I've inherited. I'm like, hold on, seriously, a professional did this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And you know what? We're talking about consultants, and I know that the consulting world, especially with AI, is taking a different hit. But
Mm,
um, for years and still now, like the big folks that go to the top MBA programs and whatnot, they usually go to the big four, what PwC, the
mhm.
McKinseys or whatever. Um, say what we will, but like, they're strong communicators. You gotta be good at the decks. You gotta be good at like communicating. You're gonna
Yeah.
be talking to people. You're not just gonna be sitting in the corner doing nothing, or not doing nothing, but like you're not gonna be sitting in the I think the I don't know, if you're not gonna be just sitting in the corner, not talking to nobody, and
Yeah.
just like at your desk for all day, with your headphones on and just not saying anything to anybody. I'm not really sure if like if that's what you want in data analytics, it's not your thing.
Yeah.
Even if you want to be a data engineer, you still got to do meetings. Like
Yeah.
you still got to talk to people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'd say like, that story, those skills are super important. I got excited when I would hire entry level people. So, fresh out of university, a university degree was required for those roles. And, when hiring for those people, it was, people who didn't have a lot of experience. Obviously, they just came fresh out of university and then were getting their first role. Maybe they had an internship, maybe they didn't. But I would get really excited when I saw something like tutor or camp counselor or any like a coach. If you coached like a youth soccer league or something, I was like, great, that says communication skills to me. And I think, that really speaks to your brand. In data, communication is a really big part of your brand. So I mean, I would always say don't underestimate the power of, that experience that you've had in the past, no matter how old it was. When I was in college, I started out working as an English teacher. I worked at the Center for Students with Disabilities. And also, like, I used to be a camp counselor. I used to go to Japan in the summers and teach English to Japanese kids. So, that was kind of like leadership skills. It was communication, making things fun, having a personality. And that was something that I'm so glad I did because I leveraged that, going into my career down the line. Which to this point has not been a data role. However, and Kadisha knows this, but I don't think I've ever said this online before. I actually myself, after I left recruiting, that was in Germany. I came back to North America, to Mexico, and I wanted to work in data let's say in a company in the US remotely from Mexico. So I learned the tools. I learned SQL. I did a bit of Python. I loved Tableau. Oh, Tableau is great. It's so easy to use. I freaking loved it. And then I thought, okay, with my background in hiring, of course, I was hiring for these analytical roles. So I knew what was important. And then I thought, like, how am I going to really, like, what is going to be low hanging fruit for me? Where am I going to really make an impact? Where am I going to land? And because I had like 5-6 years of experience working at universities, teaching, I went straight for universities that were looking for data analysts. And I knew that it was going to be hard to get a remote job and out of the country in data analytics, but I landed 2 offers with, on paper, literally no experience in data analytics whatsoever. And, of course, I learned the skills, and having the skills and the background in higher education is what got me in the door for the interview. But then, what happened in those interviews was what landed me those offers. So the story was super important for me. And that was something that I attempted. I don't have my documents and stuff from that time either. My LinkedIn profile has changed a lot, but I definitely made the effort at that time to be very consistent in my brand. Where did I come from? Higher ed. Have a background in data, had a lot of contact with data people, learned the tools. Now I want to do data. So it worked. I mean, I got the offers. Couldn't move to the US at that time to work
You
there.
put yourself in a position to say no. That's what I tell my students too, like,
Yeah.
they're sometimes, especially if they're like maybe something comes across their table or the recruiter hits them up for something, and um whether or not it's like exactly their fit or whatever it is, it's like, no, just go through the interview, just put yourself in a position to say no. Don't just like strike out, because at the very least it's what do you call it, practice or whatever. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Yeah, and when it comes like to brands, really, the it really boils down to like what's the impression that you come across? Like, what do people think about you? Like, think about the brand that Coca-Cola has. You know,
Mm,
it's just a soda,
yeah.
but not really. Like when I moved to Georgia, and again, I didn't know Coca-Cola was like born and bred in Atlanta. I'm like, it was like a huge thing. Everybody had Coke. You couldn't find Pepsi things anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was Coke, everything. Very strong brand, like just very compelling. Um, when you think of like Coca-Cola or whatever it is, things with strong brands, it's like, um, whatever, like, again, when you said, like, what do people think, when you're not in the room?
Mm,
What's the impression that that comes across when you're speaking? So again, it's everything. It's like your LinkedIn, your resume, your portfolio, and then whenever you're speaking in interviews, all of that is really part of your brand assets.
yeah, absolutely. And it needs to be consistent. So, one of the things that I've seen recently and also saw when I was a recruiter is that sometimes, the information that I got on somebody's resume didn't align well with what was on their LinkedIn profile, which for me as a recruiter is a red flag. And at that time, that was before, ChatGPT was available. So we didn't have all of these, AI powered resume generators. That just wasn't a thing. But now it is a thing, and it's even worse now than it was then because all of these AI resume generator tools are really bad. Generally, I haven't found a good one that I like to date. But if it's just a generic tool that you're going to talk to for 2 minutes, toss in your old resume, and it's going to come up with a resume for you for a particular job, I guarantee you it's going to be wacky. And not maybe like far out there wacky, but it's not going to align 100% with what you're putting out there on LinkedIn. And then, if you're a person who wants to really land a role with a particular company, it's really important that you make a good impression to the recruiter, the person who's like sitting in that chair, because they decide you moving on or not. Am I talking to you or not? You have 5 seconds, you have 10 seconds for me to decide. And if I'm interested in you, you better bet that today I am clicking into your LinkedIn profile because I know that everybody's using tools. And you've got one LinkedIn profile, but you can send a million, like literally a million resumes out in one day if you want to. And they can all say different things. So I would be clicking into that LinkedIn profile to see, does this match? And if it doesn't match, you're out, you're fake. You might even be a bot in my world.
Yeah, because I know we've all listen. I know some. I know we've all had some really bad first dates, or we've used the apps, and you get on, you get there, and you're like, I mean, I've never been like catfish. I've never been catfished, right? I'm sorry for those who have, but like, it'll say like, what their traits are, and then you get there and you ain't what you said. You ain't what you said, and it's like you're there for like the first 5 minutes of the dinner, and you're like, this ain't gonna work, but you know,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, so when it comes down to the job market and things like that, you're single until you're married.
Right.
Basically, you are single
Absolutely.
until you're married.
Yeah. And you do not want your marriage to start on a foundation of lies because if you do, it will crumble. And the same goes for your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
don't
let's
cheat on your. I don't cheat on your marriage either.
no. Yeah, but you can cheat on your job. You can have a side hustle. That's okay.
Oh yeah. You can have
Yeah.
a side piece. Side pieces are
In,
okay.
in work.
You can have a side piece. Yeah, side pieces are okay. Listen, it's one thing to have like chicken, but you gotta have the fries. You gotta have the sweet potatoes, right? So yeah, side pieces are completely fine.
Amazing. Wonderful. Well, that being said, I was trying to think of like ways that we could talk about this from a pivot perspective. And I thought like, okay, we could do this one of two ways. Either like I could make a bunch of stuff up about a fictitious person, or I could talk about like literally what I did as a data analyst and what my story was when I actually was landing those offers in the US as a data analyst.
All right, let's do it.
So I'm thinking I'm going to see if I can get I'm going to get my screen up here.
In the meantime, I'm gonna answer this one question.
Yeah.
Do you need any kind of degree to give you an edge in getting a job as a data analyst? Nope. You just need a degree. Like honestly, it could be in basket weaving, it could be in anything. But in terms of like giving you an edge, there's nothing that really gives you an edge, in my opinion. Now, shout out to Kennesaw State University. Okay, the first school, I think they have a bachelor's degree in, I think, artificial intelligence. I think we're the first school in the country or whatever. Listen,
Oh, Keisha,
we're
I
doing.
have to shout out to my alma mater, University of Wisconsin Whitewater, because before you made that announcement, like a couple weeks prior, my university had announced their major in AI as well.
A bachelor's degree?
Bachelor's degree in AI. University of Wisconsin Whitewater. Go Warhawks.
Well, thanks for stealing our thunder.
I'm sure you were the first in Georgia.
Was it in Georgia? Dang it!
Or wait,
Nah, I posted in the Discord. Let me verify. You're telling me
Cheesehead's got it going on. Cheesehead's an AI. But to, as asterisk to Chris.
Dang it is Georgia. Dang it.
In Georgia, yeah. Okay, asterisk to Chris. So I think that's a really good question. And, there's been a little bit of debate about whether we actually even need degrees going forward. I don't have an answer to that question right now. So if the question is specific degree versus any random degree, take my word for it. I have a bachelor's degree in German. That was my first degree. I got offers in data analytics. So having a degree sometimes is a hurdle to get an offer at a certain company. So degree versus no degree, you still have an edge if you have that bachelor's degree. It doesn't really matter what it's in. I don't know if we're going to, moving forward, if we're going to go to a place where like nobody has a degree. That I'm not sure.
I don't know about that, to be honest. And honestly, please, again, my headline is always, I hope career changers become data analysts without going back to school. I am not going to be I'm never the person that says, oh, you don't need a bachelor's degree. And honestly, please don't be listening to folks who are like, yeah, I would have been the same place if I didn't have a bachelor's degree. BS. Absolute BS.
Yeah.
It's all BS. Again, if you're, blue collar work and things like that, there's definitely tons of other career choices that doesn't need that stuff. But most of those, there's still some sort of schooling, to be honest. Yeah. Right. But yeah, please don't, in terms of like no degree at all, it's going to be, I think we're in a long, the curve is it's a much more uphill battle for like no bachelor's degree. But you can get anything. It can be anything. Again, basket weaving, anything. But there's no, in terms of what gives you an edge. It's interesting. I think one of the key people at Anthropic, she said that, I think she said like studying like humanities or majoring in like the non-technical stuff is going to be even more valuable today, which I completely agree.
Me too.
Yeah, I would not study. Listen, the folks studying computer science, right? They're shaking in their boots. They're shaking in their boots.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's coming for us, right? And I don't want to think that that's a bad thing. I mean, I think we're still at a point where we definitely need humans for context and for verification, et cetera, et cetera. But what is this going to look like 10 years down the line? I honestly have no idea. Are we all just going to be like product managers at some point? Because I don't need to code, in order to have a product. Well, you can buy. I'm not saying that today you don't need to code or you don't need to have a person who knows about, like, let's say data infrastructure or cybersecurity. Like, obviously these things are important, but 10 years from now, I can very easily see that a human is not needed to write a line of code for anything, and it will be secure.
Yeah, it might be more higher level stuff. Might be, but let's not listen to any nonsense about no human ever needed. That nonsense is dumb. Propaganda. It's propaganda. I got a video coming out about that. It's propaganda.
Yeah. All right. I can't wait to see it. But also, I mean, on that point, like, I feel like there's always going to need to be a person, but like the amount of coding that a person's going to need to do is going to decrease exponentially.
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, not just like, but like I mean, the cotton gin or, stuff like that, but you still have to have the Industrial Revolution.
Sorry?
The Industrial Revolution?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think more along the lines of like steam and trains and.
Well, yeah. There's always going to have someone like, the train conductors, there's someone driving the train. Right. I'm not getting on no train where there's no conductor in the front.
Right.
I'm not doing that. You already got Waymo, right? You know Waymo?
Yes.
So we just learned that they're operated or monitored by folks in the Philippines. Like there's always human involvement. Like these folks are lying to you. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. And I mean, for today's job market, I would not be encouraging people not to get a degree today.
Oh
No. So
no. Unless you
today,
want to be a plumber. But then you still
unless
gotta
you
go
want
to
to be a
school.
plumber, which
But
is
they're still
great.
cool.
We
Oh yeah.
need plumbers.
That no AI better be. I'm not trusting no AI plumbers.
No, neither would I. And I don't like, honestly, like, I don't think 10 years down the line that I'm going to want an AI plumber either, like a plumber robot. I don't think so. Who knows? Let's, call me a liar 10 years from now, or call me wrong or whatever. But that being said, let's get back to personal branding. So, all right. Is it okay if I talk a little bit about my pivot story?
Sure. Go ahead and talk about yourself.
Awesome. So it was like, so I'm gonna like frame this as like, as in the moment, like a few years ago when I was looking for roles as a data analyst, when I was landing those offers in Michigan or wherever they were. I think Tennessee was another one. So basically, like I said earlier, I have a bachelor's degree in German. And I am so happy that I did that because it has led to from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. I went and studied abroad. I learned that it is so great to be able to communicate with people who are different from me. I can learn so much. I think this learning mindset has been so important for me because now I realize that I am basically an idiot in almost everything, and so is everyone. There is always a person who knows more than you in a certain thing. And having like this mindset where you can be open and you can learn and you're not the absolute expert in any given topic is like the way to move forward. So this really opened me to like this learning mindset. Then I went in, like I did my master's degree in international studies. It was called International Studies, Peace and Conflict Research. And it was in the political science department. And the number one most important lesson that I learned in these studies is that I absolutely hate political science. I hate it with a passion. Oh, the last job on earth that I want to do is going into politics. Absolutely not. That does not fill my cup. That is stressful. Like, you will not find me there. But what I did find was that I loved education. I loved where it took me. I loved being able to learn from these people. And I wanted everyone to have access to education. And I wanted everyone to be able to like advance in their careers, learn something new, implement something new, make money for them and their families, regardless of their background. So from there, I went into university administration. Like I ran a grad school for like 5 years from an administrative standpoint. And while I was doing that, like there was this one experience I had where we were running some processes like parallel to what was going on at the General University because we were kind of like semi-independent. And one of the things that we had to do independently because of that was run our own application process. And this application process needed a data infrastructure. It needed a way to collect the applicant data to store it so that the professors who were evaluating it could evaluate it fairly so that we could go and then announce our decisions to these students in the end. And the team was so small, and I was just the person who liked trying new things and learning about tech and making spreadsheets. I volunteered to be the person who sets up this database with the connected like application form and this pipeline. So I did that, and I was like, this is so cool. This is so much fun. And then after that, I was like, wow, we've got all this data now. I bet I could toss this into a spreadsheet and like get some insights, having no idea what like a spreadsheet or insights were because I didn't even have the language at that point. And then I went into like making this whole evaluation of the application process. Like, what does the funnel look like? Where are applicants coming from? Out of these applicants, like who has the most success passing the first year exams, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wow. Amazing. Still loving university life at university administration. Next role, international office, working with people, administering programs there. And then that was a limited position. Use data there too. I just kept thinking, like, why aren't people using data like this? This is the best thing ever. I was in that role, I was in charge of administering a German language program for refugees so that they could study in German after they moved to the country. And the success rate was so low there. It was like 30% of the people like that I had chairs for could like go on to study. So the numbers were super low. I was not happy with that. And I was just like, guys, let's get some data. Let's look into the data and see like how we can improve this. I found out that people were leaving and they weren't being replaced. I found out that, certain people have a certain ability, like have like more probability of coming through to the end of the program. Rearranged a whole like application process, weighted criteria in order to like have the best people in the program at the time. And that year, it was the best graduation rate in the state. I was so happy. And then after that, got just honestly, randomly hired into Wayfair. The connection there was Wayfair. I was working at a university and they needed a campus recruiter. So I spoke English, I spoke German, I was a campus recruiter, I knew stuff about data. Bam, hiring for BI at Wayfair. Then I realized these guys are doing something that's really cool. Like, not only are they like doing the communication part of work that I was doing with everybody else at that time, but they're like digging into the data and they're making the spreadsheets and they're presenting the findings and they're getting the outcomes. That was so cool. And they're making more money than me. So what am I going to do? I go learn SQL, learn a little Python, learn a little Tableau, put it out there. And then this was my personal brand, more or less at the time. I'm just going to read it off of here. And I want to show you guys how like this personal brand, it's like your story and you can use this for different things. It's not just your LinkedIn headline. It's not just the tell me a little bit about yourself interview question. So on LinkedIn, it probably said, now just remembering back something like this, data analyst, talent and workforce analytics, turning market signals into hiring strategy. So background in employment, hiring, data. All right. Then my elevator pitch might have been something was very similar to this. I started my career in international education and recruiting, where I saw how many decisions were made based on assumptions rather than data. That led me into analytics. Today, I specialize in using workforce and operational data to identify patterns, improve hiring outcomes, and drive strategic decisions. And of course, in the interview scenario, we're employing that, past, present, future structure. So then, just imagine, I worked in the past. I would explain it just as I did now, came from an international language background. Currently, and at the time, the most recent job, I'm currently working in recruiting for data analytics professionals and have recently upskilled in SQL, Python, and let's say Tableau. I'm excited about this role I'm excited to work more closely with data because I realized that throughout the course of my previous work, that data has been what's held it all together, and communicating with people is the way that I love to get results. So that at the time was basically my personal brand. It's got to be consistent.
I think that's excellent. One thing that I thought about, like when you said Wayfair seemed like perfect for you because you knew German, you had, did data in your previous role. Like it just seemed perfect. And then I think about like when we were in college, right? Bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
If we wanted to be like, we're like, okay, do you want to be a nurse? Do you want to be an engineer? Do you want to be whatever? Whatever it took, the requirements was the degree. It wasn't like anything else. I think we're like just been conditioned to think that, or conditioned to be qualified for a role. It's some sort of like degree or education, but it's none of the other things like experiences. So that just like came up in my head when I heard you say that.
Absolutely. And, over the course of working with career pivoters in data and motion, I have been so excited to see people. I mean, I'm remembering, I don't know if the person is still in the group. I didn't see her this week. Maybe she got a job now. Who was saying that she didn't, oh no, she still is in the group. She was saying that she didn't have a master's degree. Like she was asking, like, do I need a master's degree? And I was like, no, you don't need a master's degree. And then we flip over to her LinkedIn page, and this very strong, intelligent, talented woman has literally a master's degree in education, which for the purpose of pivoting into a data role, she simply for herself wasn't considering. Like she didn't see that as a strength. But I see, and I'm thinking this person is a teacher. I don't know if you're on the stream right now. You know who you are. Has a background as a teacher, a master's degree in education, and wants to learn a couple of additional tools. Wow, that's a person that I want to talk to.
Yeah, especially when people like don't like their current career. I feel like it makes it even worse or harder to like kind of pull out or kind of see their current skills as a, what do you call it, advantage, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. We are almost at the hour. Let's see if
Yeah.
there's
We got any questions here?
do y'all got any questions? Man, folks are just tuning in. Man, we're about done. Man, just tuning
Hola.
in. It's interesting though. They got more higher numbers as like time went along. Like, man, it's man, you
Yeah.
guys like to be up late. Maybe everyone's just getting off work or just finished dinner or something.
Maybe. I am trying to pull something
What
up.
should we talk about next time, y'all?
Good question. Yeah, what do you guys want to hear?
A good showing tonight. Yeah, it's recorded. It is recorded.
Yeah.
Man, y'all are just coming in, man. Like, man, I guess this is a time that, man, you guys like to be up late. I guess 7 p.m. Central is a key time, West Coast time.
Yeah.
All right, Emily. Maybe we gotta do these later. Darn, we gotta. I don't know. Or no,
Oh,
you're like no.
yeah, maybe Friday. Happy.
You know, the
Hey,
numbers
Adina.
are pretty good for a Friday night. I mean, if I take a good nap, I can do 7 p.m. Central. I can
Yeah.
do 7 p.m. Central.
7 p.m.
Or no.
Central is too late for me generally.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We'll stick with 6 p.m.
I
Central.
can make it work on a Friday, but I feel like people are out at happy hour on Friday.
I would think, but the numbers are up high. Or
Yeah.
are we y'all's pre-game for happy hour? That'd be great too.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Maybe a split down the line like 6:30. Because I did notice like the numbers picking up towards like the second half.
Yeah.
Okay.
AI dating. That's funny. Well, before we go, guys, I don't know if anybody's interested in this, but I'm really pretty excited today.
About what?
Well, I'm so glad that you asked, Kadisha. I thought you'd never ask. I am so excited, everyone, friends, because taking inspiration from the OG Kadisha herself, I love what Kadisha does. And I love like the synergy that we have found. And, actually, the thing I really like about Kadisha is that Kadisha gives it all to you. Kadisha not only will help you land a job, so she'll give you the skills that you need to become an awesome data analyst. And then she'll also, together with me, will help you learn how to land the role. So that's something that I absolutely love about Kadisha, and something, if you're pivoting into data and you don't know SQL, then sign up with Kadisha and I'll help you land the job through Kadisha. If you are on our stream right now and you already have the skills and you're just looking how to position yourself and how to land the next role, I am very happy that today I'm launching. Of course, I do individual coaching. That's what I've been doing, but I'm launching my first group. So guys, I am so excited. I'm going to actually bring it up now. I am launching my very first group where I have gone through all of the knowledge and advice and tips and tricks and systems that I have developed over the past years, not only working as a career coach, but as in data and also as a recruiter. And I have put it in like video format for you to like sponge up at your leisure, and during which you can have some video calls with me. And I'll tell you, I'll give you my diagnosis. If you need anything very specific, you can hop on Slack. We're going to have a Slack channel going. I will give you literally the entire system, including the templates for everything. I will help you position yourself on LinkedIn. I will help you reach out to people so that you're getting like inbound, like you're attracting recruiters' eyes, and you're landing referrals from absolute randos on the internet. So I'm super excited. I'm launching this today. I just put it live like a couple hours ago. And I'm so excited to be doing this for the first time. I love talking to a group because I feel like there's always something that you get out of it. And for the first 20 people who sign up, you will be a founding member, and you will get the founding member rate, which is $500 for 3 months. So if you guys have any questions, I should probably like send a link to this somewhere.
I was going to say, like, where's the link?
Where's the link? See, this is my problem. I forget to like put the link. Is it there?
Can you imagine saying like, hey, I'm opening a restaurant, and you don't even say the address? And how do you expect for people to show up?
I know. I just put it as a comment in YouTube. Should I put it somewhere else?
LinkedIn, you have to actually go in there.
Go in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Post it.
Well, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, you're either on Kadisha's page or my page. We're streaming together on LinkedIn, and this is what you'll see on my LinkedIn page. So, should I show that? I'm not good at this. See, this is why I teach people how to get jobs and not other stuff. Yep. So if you go to my LinkedIn page and you click here, go to the same link.
Or connect with Emily and ask and see.
Absolutely. Anybody who's got a question, who's like got any suggestions or anything that you want to see, absolutely. It's like, early days here, and I am like open to it. Like a sponge here, guys. So let me know what you need, and I would be happy to, think about integrating that into my program.
All right. I didn't really see too much about next time. So, how can we effectively use AI as a data analyst? What are some strategies for making the career change?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that one, Jaime, I don't know if it's Jaime or Jamie. Looks like maybe Jaime. I think like all the topics that we talk about here are, things that you can employ when you're looking to pivot into data.
Oh yeah, for sure. We give the playbooks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're 5 minutes after the hour, and we are so glad that y'all came and spent time with us on a Friday night. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Come with questions, guys. Thanks. Bye.